there is a very big bee outside of your window.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for episode 9 of the Cringy Movie Collection Podcast. There are hosts here. They have names. Mine is Ralph, and this is Ludo.
Hi, I'm Ludo. I met a cat under a cat.
It's happening again, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, I'm Ludo, and I hope that I will be able to talk today.
Okay. Today, we're talking about the movie Rush Hour from 1998. You know, last time, the time before that, on Reign of Fire, you were saying, we need a break from the 2000s, so we went to 2012, and now we're going back to before the 2000s to 1998. And hopefully you'll be happy with this.
So get ready to Jackie Chan it up. It's Rush Hour.
You know, Rush Hour was like, I don't know why, but one of those kind of movies that were floating around at the boarding school I went to. I've mentioned this before, we weren't really allowed to watch movies. And so there was the secret underground world of, bootleg DVDs and portable DVD players and things like that. And one of the movies that people, I don't know who liked it, but someone must have really liked it. And so they kind of kept talking about it. It was Rush Hour. And so that was probably the first time I saw anything Jackie Chan related, and I really thought it was a great thing as a kid, and so later I just bought the DVD, and I don't know, I think I've cooled off on the Rush Hour a little bit. It's certainly not the best Jackie Chan movie, not even like remotely. Like if what you like in Jackie Chan is his kind of way of action comedy, then this is actually slightly better than middling. Yeah, that's how I feel anyway.
So there is room for improvement in my Jackie Chan experience.
Well, there is another Jackie Chan movie in the collection, which is called Who Am I? I think the alternative title is Jackie Chan is Nobody. And if I'm not mistaken, that's a Hong Kong movie that was dubbed later. Oh. So I'm not entirely sure. It might actually have been filmed in it. I mean, they all have like thick accents, so it might, I don't know. But that's more kind of like pure Jackie Chan experience, and it's great.
Oh, wow.
We'll get to that another time. But let's talk about the plot of this movie, which is very simple.
Yes.
What do you
Jackie Chan is a detective, and there is also another detective in this movie. And it's like Jackie Chan is a Hong Kong detective, and he meets this. Where are they? LA?
Where? Yeah.
Okay.
It's called Rush Hour. Where would they be?
I don't know. There is traffic everywhere.
Sure.
Like, where is Switzerland? So not so much, but like.
No, but come on. If they're going to be in an American city and there's a rush hour, it's going to be LA.
Well, it could be New York. New York seems more like rush hour. LA is like traffic all the time.
Okay, so it's always rush hour.
Yeah.
There you go. Like that movie.
24/7 rush hour. Anyway, Jackie Chan is a Hong Kong cop, and he teams up with a LAPD detective that is kind of a joke around his department, and Jackie Chan is also being prevented to work, and they decide to solve the case that they were like kind of called to solve. There is a kidnapping case of the ambassador, the consul.
Yeah, so
Consul, like a gaming console.
The consul Han, who is the Hong Kong consul, is in LA, and his daughter is kidnapped.
Yes, because there is this big villain that's called Jun Tao, and the kidnapping is related to that. So these two kind of like outcasts pair up to solve the crime, And they eventually actually do it. They destroy a bunch of very precious art in the
Who?
in the mint. They do the two outcasts.
No.
Yeah.
No. It's the
Yeah.
bad guys that destroy the art.
Okay, everything gets destroyed, but the girl is not. Like the girl is safe. So they win, and they become friends. In the meantime.
Even though they irritate each other very much.
Yes, at the beginning they didn't like each other.
Also in the end.
Yes, but at the end they don't like each other, but they kind of do.
Yeah.
But in the beginning they don't like each other at all.
Yeah. And that's Rush Hour in a nutshell.
And they do fight a lot in the meantime.
Yeah, I mean, one of the kind of typical things in Jackie Chan movies is that the story isn't really so important. It's just a vehicle to get you from one action scene to the other, which is like an action movie thing anyway. Like the new Mission Impossible movies are made that way apparently now, where they just go like, we want to have an Arc de Triomphe action scene. And then they film it, and they don't quite know why it's happening in the story yet. So this is very similar. Like they just go to different set pieces and they fight. So I suppose the first thing we should talk about is the action in this movie, because that's, more than half of the movie, I suppose. Like That's why you would go watch a Jackie Chan movie. So you had some preconceptions about Jackie Chan, so you never watched any of it.
Well, it's not preconception. It's just like they tell you it's a like kung fu movie, and you just think that their people are gonna just punch each other all the time. That is what happens, but in reality, the thing is way more choreographed.
So really,
than what I expected.
What you thought is that kung fu is boring. Obviously, a good action movie isn't just people punch, like as you described it, it's not just punching in and of itself. Like there's got to be a bigger hook. Like it's got to look interesting in some way, right?
Yes, but I don't think that punching looks interesting
in and of itself.
When I was younger, I was way much into like the Three Musketeers and something like that. So I like action.
Fencing.
Yes, I like action scenes with swords.
Right. So you like swords. So now you see this movie, and they make a big effort to make punching look interesting. You think that was accomplished?
Yes, but to me it was more interesting because of the gymnastics of all of it. I still think that this could be a very Jackie Chan specific thing, and it's not an action specific thing that they do all this. It seems like a dance, and it's like all choreographed, and there are little like comedy poses, and then they do some kind of backflips and stuff.
There's a lot of incorporating the environment into the action. Like there's one sequence where Jackie Chan is sitting in a chair for an extended period of time while fighting people, and he's like flipping around with the chair on his ass.
Yeah.
Like, things like that, which make it kind of more appealing. It's just because, like, otherwise if you think, well, two people fighting, that's gonna be just like, watching a martial arts competition. It's like you'd have to know a lot about martial arts to be interested in it. Jackie Chan in his Hong Kong movies famously would just like do things hundreds of times, right? And that's how he would get these really impressive things done. For example, in this movie, there's a scene where he picks up a holster with a gun in it with his feet, throws it up in the air, and picks up the gun from the holster. And like in the outtakes, you just see him do it like 8 times or something. And there's a lot more excessive versions of that in his Chinese movies. And that's not really martial arts, you know what I mean? Like that's, and it's also not really skill. And
like Michael Scott trying to get the hoop from behind.
If you've watched The Office, there is a famous, or not so famous maybe, but like a cool scene where he tries to make an exit by throwing a basketball behind his head without looking and trying to hit the basket, and it just keeps doing it. But the point is, that's not skill. That's just saying, look, we can do this if we try long enough.
Yes.
This is like a dance choreography that involves show fighting.
Yeah,
Right.
and I thought that I was like, if people would say to me it's a capoeira movie, then I would go and see it because I know it's like kind of dancey and stuff.
Yeah.
But I wasn't expecting it from Kung Fu.
The other big aspect of this movie is that it's a buddy cop comedy.
That's my favorite part of
It's
this
a very
movie.
it's a very classic recipe. I mean, this movie was written by the same person who co-wrote National Treasure, so it's the kind of it's not very original, but it works just fine for what it tries to accomplish. And I think the script was written before they knew it was going to be a Jackie Chan movie, so presumably it changed a little bit in the execution. Also because like Chris Tucker is like like you would imagine that he would improvise a lot in terms of like comedy, and that's I do want to talk about that specifically. I feel like Chris Tucker's comedy is mostly execution. Like if you listen to what he says, it's not really a joke. It's not really funny. It's just the way he says it most of the time that makes it funny.
Yeah, I think that he's very physical, like just his presence is funny. Like he moves his shoulders a lot and it's always in a funny way. It's like his shoulders are equivalent of like Jack Black's eyebrows.
I think he's doing a lot of what Michael Jackson behavior.
Yeah, but in a funny way.
Sure, but I think that contributes. Like for example, okay, he says when Lee and he first meet, he goes like, "Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?" That's not a joke, but for some reason it's funny, and I think like that particular line was added later, well, not later, but like it wasn't in the script because apparently Jackie Chan had trouble understanding Chris Tucker, and so I guess he told like the director or something, like, I can't understand anything that comes out of his mouth. And then Chris Tucker was like, I want to say that. Like, you know, that's like an inside joke.
That joke kind of resonated, like it was an inside joke for them, but I kind of felt included because it took me a couple of scenes to start understanding the words that were coming out of his mouth.
Yeah.
He talks very fast.
And he's talking in an African American vernacular.
And I've never heard him before.
Yeah.
So like I was not used to his way of talking, and he's very fast.
Yeah,
so
he was cast as a fast-talking loudmouth, right? Like that's what his character is.
So I felt confused as Jackie Chan sometimes.
I watched this movie when I was like 15 in English. I didn't speak English at the time. I had like 1 year in school or something.
So you also look confused as Jackie Chan.
I had no idea what anyone was saying, but certainly not Chris Tucker. But it works really well because I think Chris Tucker is just really good at being physical and at saying things in a weird way. And I think it's a big credit to him for like how unfunny, so to speak, that a lot of what he says is, for how well it works as entertainment.
It's like, these are your lines, now make them funny.
It feels a little bit like that. It's not a great script, and I think maybe it's also... I think improvisation is often a bad thing in movies, because when you're doing a comedy and you have a lot of funny people around you and you're doing something unexpected, that feels really funny in the moment. But it's not actually funny to someone else who doesn't know that that was improvised and like all of those things, right? Like, because oftentimes the fact that something is improvised makes it feel funnier than it is. So if you don't know that it is, that's why you shouldn't go to improv like shows.
No, don't go, people. It's awful.
You're getting cheated out of a good show because like they're trying to get away with shitty comedy by telling you that it's all made up on the spot.
Also, I don't want to shout at people what they should be doing. Like, please come up with your ideas. I'm already paying the ticket.
Exactly.
But in more dramatic scenes, it seems that improvisation could be amazing, though, because sometimes when there is like a very heavy, like important scene or line, then you read an interview and they say that it was improvised.
When it's about genuine reactions, oftentimes that can come from a place that isn't on the page, right? Like you're really in character, and so you react as the character would you react, and that works better for something that isn't supposed to be funny. Because if it's supposed to be funny, that's an external element. Like, that's a judgment from outside, and that is something you can script a little bit better than you can... Like, unless you, like you're a comedy genius, as they say, you can't really just come up with, like, a joke on the fly. You have to think about why that's funny and all those things, and that isn't really conducive to improvisation.
And I think that this is why... Cameron got the water so cold on the
James Cameron?
Titanic. Yes.
To have a genuine reaction.
Yeah.
We have to talk about Titanic every episode. That's the contract.
Check.
To be fair, there are some really good jokes, like the one where he says, "I don't want you to panic" at the end, and then no one panics, and then, Carter just starts yelling at them to make them panic, because obviously he was trying to stoke panic. And that's great, and that is both that's both kind of the physical aspect of Chris Tucker pretending to be like, first he pretends to be like a serious person, and then when that doesn't have the desired outcome, he just goes crazy in the way that Chris Tucker can, and it's fantastic. So, there are some good scripted jokes as well, but I feel like a lot of what's funny is A, Chris Tucker, kind of his delivery, and B, the weird interactions between Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker. Either Jackie Chan is a really good actor, or, and I think that's what it is, he really can't understand a lot of what's going on. So he looks confused a lot of the time, and it is endearing in a way, because, he's just here to help.
And then people start punching him, and so you understand that, okay, this is what's happening. I'm going to punch back.
That's multilingual.
Yes.
Yeah.
Most of the time is like that. As well, like the scene in which he tries to fit in the club. The pool club, and
he calls someone the N-word.
Yes, because he just watched Tucker doing it, but of course there is a little bit of a difference between Tucker and him, and so he didn't know that he shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And so he tries to fit in, it doesn't work, people start punching him, he's confused, but now he's like, well, I guess I'm punching stuff, and there are pool sticks, so that's good. I have a big question, because when it's like, we were watching this movie, it's called Rush Hour, and I thought it was maybe like, if you just guess what the movie is gonna be about, I thought that like the movie on the bus in which you cannot stop.
Speed. You thought it was a Speed knockoff.
Yeah, maybe they're just like kung fu fighting on a bus. And
I mean, they are on a bus at some point.
Yeah, it's more like a van.
No, it's a tourist bus.
Oh yeah, it's a tourist bus. That scene is very cool. Anyway, so
it hangs off the Hollywood street sign.
Yeah. Anyway, I was like, so why is a Jackie Chan movie? And then people started kung fu fighting. I was like, why is this movie called Rush Hour? And then because one guy, like the punch man of the bad guy.
The punch man.
Yeah.
His right-hand man.
Yes. It's just when he goes and kidnaps the girl, he dresses as an agent, and people tell him, oh, is there any problem? No, it's no problem. It's just rush hour.
Yeah.
It's no problem. It's just rush hour. And that's it.
Yeah.
Like, that's where the title comes from.
It's like a random detail.
Like, then it could be, the title could have been Don't Touch a Black Man's Radio. Like, it's just like a line in the movie.
Yeah. But, well, Rush Hour at least is connected to the plot. Like, the catalyst of this whole, like, they get stuck in rush hour, and then the kidnapping happens. But I agree, it's like, it's a random detail. What would you have called this movie?
Jackie Chan and... it should be, like, all Jackie Chan movies should be Jackie Chan and something that happens in the movie.
Jackie Chan at the Temple of Doom?
It could be Jackie Chan and the LAPD.
Case of the Missing Girl. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
But his name is Lee. There
It's
are.
gonna be Jackie Chan.
He's called Jackie in a lot of his Hong Kong movies.
Wow.
I think he's called Jackie in First Strike, and he might also be called that in Who Am I?
It's like Agatha Christie, they're just like Miss Marple ends the case of this and that. It's like the character. Like you go to see the Jackie Chan movie.
But he's not always a cop. Like he's different characters, even though they're called Jackie sometimes. I mean, from a marketing perspective, from a branding perspective, it's not a bad idea. Because people go watch Jackie Chan movies, not, like I said, not for the story or whatever. A lot of other Western Jackie Chan movies have titles that relate more closely to what the movie is about. Okay. I'm going to name a few, and you tell me what you think they're about. I'm going to tell you what they're actually about.
Okay.
The Medallion.
It's about saving pigs from a farm, from a slaughtering farm.
So you mean a meat medallion?
It's like pork medallion.
Oh my god. It's about a medallion that gives you powers.
Oh.
The Tuxedo.
It is about stealing diamonds because, I don't know, for some reason I think about the Pink Panther.
It's about a tuxedo that gives you powers.
Why there's all these like power-giving items?
Well, the medallion is like a magical thing.
Yes, but
and
why
the tuxedo is a technological thing. It's like it's like kind of like in Chuck, you know, you can program it.
Or maybe because you wear it, you feel so confident that you have this placebo effect that you're kind of strong.
No, what it really is about is you become Jackie Chan if you put on the tuxedo.
Really?
So in other words, Jackie Chan plays someone who doesn't know kung fu, and then he gets the tuxedo from a special agent, and then he knows kung fu. And the final one, Rush Hour 2.
I don't want to date the kid that gets kidnapped again, but maybe the evil guy goes out of prison.
Do you think there will be Rush Hour more involved in the second movie?
No.
Okay, I think you're right.
It's less traffic. Any movie that is starts in a Chinese situation, environment, everything is red because red is a lucky color in Chinese culture. But I like that they just keep the theme of red, not only for Chinatown things, but also when they go into the club where Carter meets his cousin. This cousin is wearing a red suit and is probably the only person in the world that can pull it off. So it's like nice that they also went intercultural.
It's
with
actually,
the red, it's not just stereotypical.
I also think the theme is like black and red. Like there's a lot of people wearing black things. Also in that scene that you're talking about, the background is very dark. So it looks black and red. Like there's a lot of black and red going on. Which could be like red for Chinese, black for, Chris Tucker's skin color. Which brings us neatly to the theme of racism.
Oh, and this is why they settled on Rush Hour, is because they were in the writing room trying to figure out the title, and everybody kept coming up with things that they couldn't use because it was too racist. And then it's like, well, we are giving up.
Every now and then, I feel like this movie plays off of stereotypes, and they do get away with it in the sense that it's a black guy doing black stereotypes, and it's a Chinese guy doing Chinese stereotypes. But do you feel like this movie treads that line well, or how do you feel?
I think that it does it well enough.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I thought that maybe it would be a bit too much, like with the weed and stuff, and for example the Chinese restaurant scene.
Where Chris Tucker goes in and he is completely confused by everything.
Yeah, and he doesn't like the things, and it's like that. Maybe it's a bit like, or the other, like when they go order at the takeout place, it's like related. A greasy noodle, like the food related for the Chinese and the weed related for the black people. I think it's like maybe a bit too much, but I think that they do it. Like, they kind of get a out of jail card with the fact that the bad people are white. It's like...
it's not true.
I'm gonna elaborate on this.
Okay.
So it's like in the first scene when we still don't know that Carter is a cop, it turns out that he's an undercover cop and he's arresting a guy that is... trading explosives. And there is the thing that the undercover cop is an African-American man, and the guy that gets arrested is white.
That's interesting, yeah.
And
like it plays a little bit with the idea that surely if one of these two people is a cop, it's the white guy.
So it's like kind of like telling the viewers, how we got here, you thought that the black guy was gonna be, we're not so racist, but then we're gonna make a bunch of racist jokes.
Yeah.
But we and the Juntao guy that is like the evil villain.
It's like the mastermind of kind of a Chinese criminal organization.
Yeah, it's a Brit guy that I think
Tom Wilkinson plays Juntao.
That it also says a lot about, like, it sends a subtle message about colonialism and stuff like that.
I don't think it's subtle at all. Like, that's not a subtle thing.
Okay, send a message
because
about
it's literally
colonialism.
about how they seize all the things that Juntao has stolen and put it in a museum. And then it turns out the white guy is the person who stole these treasures from the Chinese. Like, I don't think that's subtle.
Okay, it's not subtle, but if you're not concentrating on, like, what the movie's about, but just on the fighting, it becomes more subtle.
Yeah.
Like, by the time that they discovered what the evil villain is, I was, well, this movie doesn't have a real plot. We just need to go from one, like, fighting scene to the other. So I was just looking for the next weird fighting scene.
Juntao's main right-hand man is Asian.
Yeah.
And it probably is Asian because, like, Tom Wilkinson can't fight. I don't know. Like, it's noticeable that a lot of the main fight scenes are carried out exclusively between Asian-looking people, presumably because that's Jackie Chan's stunt team.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, these are the people he's able to work with efficiently, which is very important because he's probably used to longer, you know, shooting times and things like that, which he wasn't afforded in this movie. So it's even more important to work with people that he's familiar with. So that's why maybe this big fight scene happens in a Chinese restaurant, because you understand why there would be a bunch of Chinese upstairs.
Yes. But also, like, if you're a Hong Kong-based criminal mastermind, you want to have a right-hand man that you send out in the crowd that can blend in more easily.
Sense.
And also, if you're a racist criminal mastermind, you don't care about losing Chinese people. It looks like Carter could be mega tall, but it looks that both Jackie Chan and the Juntao right-hand man are not very tall.
Yeah, they're short.
And there's many scenes in which they're running after each other, and I love short people running. As a short person, I just think we run in the in the cutest way ever.
I guess we'll have to watch some Mission Impossible movies and see Tom Cruise running.
Because there is
screen.
this scene in Rush Hour in which Jackie Chan is running after Juntao's right-hand man, and they're running so powerful and like with many moves of the limbs, and then Carter comes after that and he does 3 strides with his mega long legs and he just catch up with them. I just think it was very nice.
The only reason why Carter can't run faster than Jackie Chan is because he's not in shape.
I was so happy during the movie because there was no shooting. Like, the guns were just like a prop. So just, I'm taking away your gun, and now I'm pointing it at you. But there was no shooting. And I was a bit let down by the fact that at the end, there was a massive shooting of guns. So it would be nicer if it was just like without any gunfire.
There's one instance where they have an action scene in which Jackie Chan fights a bunch of bad guys, but also tries to preserve a bunch of vases.
Yeah, that's very funny.
And so then in the end, some guy runs in, I think it might be, again, Juntao's right-hand man, and just fires off a volley of bullets into a bunch of vases, and Jackie Chan is disappointed. I think that works as a joke. At
the end, like, they decided to involve guns because they wanted to have, like, all the distraction and things, like, just getting wrecked.
Higher stakes as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, it would be nicer if it was gunfire free. Just the guns just passing hands but never being shot. It would be.
Okay. I want to know how you feel about watching good movies made by bad people. Now,
Who is the bad person?
see, I don't want to really go into allegations. I think it's not my or our place to say this person was accused of this and that. And I didn't look enough into any of them.
Is it an Harvey Weinstein movie?
Well, but that's the kind of situation, right? That's what I'm talking about, right? This is not. This is a movie made by Brett Ratner, Jackie Chan, and Chris Tucker, who all have been accused of doing things that are considered
Really?
bad. I just want to use this movie as a jumping off point for like the discussion. What happens when like you find out that Tom Cruise is a weirdo? You no longer watch. I know people who refuse to watch Tom Cruise movies because like he is like doing things that are questionable. So it's like, how do you feel about that? Like if I told you the director of this movie has said some bad things, like what would that change your opinion of the movie? Would that change your interest in watching the movie? What would it do?
Yes, I think that if I know the information before watching it, then it's kind of tainted.
Yeah.
So I'm also like, especially, I think that it makes more sense if it's a new movie. It's like, because you maybe go to the cinema, you buy the ticket, so you want to like send a signal.
So Rush Hour 4,
yeah,
you wouldn't go watch.
Yes. But I had to make this decision for myself some time ago, because like when I was growing up, I really liked Woody Allen movies, and then I realized some things. I came to know some things. The movies that I watched before knowing things are kind of untainted, so they can still retain the...
Do you watch these movies again now?
Yes.
And you don't feel any different?
No, but I wouldn't watch any new movie from him. Like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel so...
Interesting.
It doesn't sit well with me. But that movie was more like rewatching a movie that you liked before knowing something about the person is more rewatching the experience that you had with yourself. So it's more about yourself than like the person making the movie.
Yeah.
So...
Interesting. I feel like it just doesn't affect me at all. Like, because I don't know, maybe it's because I pirated so many movies, so I never quite feel like I'm financially supporting the people making them. But I always feel like I'm purely here for the product of entertainment, Like, I judge the movie by whether or not it's funny or by whether or not the action is compelling and all those things. It's like the fact that, like, a rapist made it or whatever. It's like, that wouldn't factor into it.
Yeah.
At least for the enjoyment of the movie. I think a lot of people don't feel that way. I think a lot of people can't separate these two things. Like, I'm a big fan of Louis C.K.'s work, and, like, some stuff happened and people's opinions soured, and I still feel the exact same way about his work. And I also like I might think about whether or not I want to pay for the new special simply because of like that's me giving money to someone, not just that's me watching that product.
I'm more towards your end of the spectrum on this like debate, but I still would feel weird to support like going to see a new movie and then you pay the ticket and you get like, all these people watch it the first week. And so it's like you're contributing to their success. So if everybody would send a signal that like, this is not okay.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing is that these are the people that got caught.
Yeah.
So it's not, I'm not going to go support this person, but then I'm going to go support the other movie. But maybe also them have done like awful things.
I think that's another thing. Like people in the public eye, like, I have done things that if people knew, well, I mean, I've talked about my my thieving behavior, but like, like there's always something that you don't want people to know and that you might get judged for if people knew. And oftentimes it's something that like like you already accept that you shouldn't have done that, and then it comes out 15 years later and you have to pay for that. I don't know, like I feel like if you're in the public eye, it's just very likely that something you did will come out that people will disagree with, and it's like that's I don't know, like everybody has done bad things, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and we have the luxury because this is about movies and stuff and like art, and if we want to consume it or not. But what about like the guys that invented like the engine or stuff like that, like with things that we rely on every day? If they became, or penicillin, what if we discovered that it was like a pervert and stuff?
Yeah.
Like, should we stop using antibiotics? Like, at this point, it's like it's.
So you're saying like entertainment value is value, like it makes your life better.
Yeah.
So that you have to have a slightly more miserable life because like this person did a bad thing.
It's just that after all, like the line will get muddled somewhere. So
True.
why shouldn't I get to see something that brings me joy?
Yeah.
But if you tell me immediately before seeing the movie, I will not I will not have a good.
Here's a movie by a rapist.
Yes, I will not feel good about it.
Okay. What do you absolutely love about this movie?
I don't know.
You should have thought about. We ask this every episode. You should have really thought about this.
I want to be
before.
genuine.
Yeah. No, but you can still think about it. I have to say, like, I think Rain of Fire, I forgot to like think about it, and I was caught off guard, even though I'm the one asking these questions. When it came to like, oh, I have to say something too, I was like, oh shit, I don't have anything.
No, I love the scene in which they start bonding with the song.
With the
Because
War
it's,
by Edwin Starr.
Yes, because it's a silly song.
It's
and
a really
it
good
makes
scene
it,
to kind of convey
funny.
this idea that
Yes.
they starting to get along.
Yeah.
I think, generally speaking, I absolutely love the dynamic between Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan. It makes this movie better than just a body cop. Like, the action is good, but we kind of know that Jackie Chan can do better. So it's really this kind of body cop dynamic that works. And if you're going to make a movie like this, that's the main thing you need to get right. And they got it pretty much perfectly right. What do you absolutely hate about this movie?
I would say the last scene I didn't really do a lot for me.
The last scene?
Yes, like the last big action scene when we discover that Juntao is the British guy.
When he's fighting and protecting vases, that's fucking hilarious.
No, like there are some things, but then they go to the helicopter room.
Yes, the stuff upstairs is a little lame. It's just a shootout.
When they finish with the vases and they start climbing on the flags, that is just good that he has to go downstairs in that weird, funny way with the silk thing.
Which is the big kind of the button on everything. I think it works.
Yes, but between going upstairs and going downstairs, nothing really good happened to me.
Like,
I was just waiting for it to be over.
In terms of a sustained action scene that is engaging throughout, there's the bar fight and there is the restaurant fight, which stand out as really cool set pieces and work really well. And then for the finale to be a little bit uneven, you have the vases, which works. Yeah. And then you have the slide situation that works, and in between there's a lot of stuff that you're like, that's not as cool as what we've seen in this movie already.
Yes, exactly. That's my point. I really like the other two action scenes because they have lots of props. Yeah. Where once the vases get broken, the props are gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate how underutilized Tom Wilkinson is in this. He plays Juntao, and he is such a great actor, and he's such a great villain in the Batman movie, in Batman Begins. He plays Carmine Falcone in that, and he's so menacing and everything. And in this movie, he's just kind of there, and in part that's because at the beginning we don't know that he's a villain, so he shouldn't come across as such. But he never quite gets to shine, and for a movie, that has him as the main villain, that's disappointing. It feels like his right-hand man is much more prevalent across the board.
Yeah, it feels like he's Juntao most of the time.
So that's a disappointment. Like, if you're gonna cast this guy, let him do his job. The script didn't really give him much to do. He just goes up onto the roof at the end of the movie. It's kind of in line with your complaint. It's like if he was more of a villain in that, rather than just a guy who grabs a suitcase full of money, it would be just it would just add a little bit more to that finale as well. Does this movie get to remain in the collection, or should it be destroyed?
I think it can remain in the collection, but it's like in the second tier.
In the box with robots?
Yes, it's in the box with robots. They kind of go upstairs with the mega fine movies. But
Upstairs?
Yes.
What kind of big house do you think I live in?
No, we have 2 tiers of movies, so it's like if it's a tier, then it's upstairs.
The dollhouse of DVDs?
Yes.
Okay.
So it can stay, it doesn't get burned.
Okay. Next episode will be episode number 10. And
It's me!
as we have established at episode number 5, every 5th movie on the podcast will be a movie from Ludovica's collection.
And we're growing up, and we go from the Aristocats to watching a movie. It's about my sport movie phase. It's Remember the Titans.
And we'll finally be back in the 2000s. It's Remember the Titans from 2000 with Denzel Washington, and that's what's up next.
Please remember to subscribe to our channel and like our video, and comment down below if you like it, and please be kind to us. And
No, you can do whatever you want. But you should know that Google withholds comments that it deems possibly offensive, which has happened. So if just keep it civil. You can disagree.
Yes.
Like, I'm interested in having discussions. I don't think
yes,
that
let's
we are,
all chat together and be a member of the family. And
Oof, I feel Vin Diesel and all those Fast and Furious people in the background.